2024, we remain optimistic about achieving even faster GDP growth.
In recent years, the Philippines has emerged as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, impressively rivaling the dizzying growth rates of fellow Asian countries such as China. Being a country mostly known for its chaotic political scene and hypercritical media landscape, the Philippines is now in global news for all good reasons.
In other business news, the Philippines became Southeast Asia's fastest growing economy last year, overtaking Vietnam and Malaysia.
Well, I do think the Philippines will be actually the winner, as we could put it, because it's going to grow more than India this year.
For instance, the country overtook Malaysia and Vietnam to become Southeast Asia's fastest growing economy. Here arises one very important question. While the whole world is busy with chaos and conflict, is the Philippines quietly focusing on becoming an economic superpower? Welcome back to our channel. Hop in as we take a look at the Philippines' potential to outgrow major powers in the world. Don't forget to support our channel by hitting the subscribe button at the end of this video. Now, most of you might wonder, isn't the Philippines a developing nation that was far from becoming an economic superpower a few years ago? Remember, we're talking about potential here, and what makes us so certain is the history of the country itself. In the past, the Philippines was one of the richest nations in Asia, only second to Japan. So it's more than a florid fantasy that the country might want to reclaim its position. The period from 1965 to 1973 was the golden time for the Philippines' GDP. Diosdado Macapagal, then president, liberalized the economy by removing import controls and devaluing the currency. The same policy has been continued by President Marcos, allowing money to flood in and positioning the country on the journey of economic hikes. In the 1920s, the average wage in the Philippines was higher than a Japanese person's wage. During the 1930s, it was pretty much the same. It seems like the Filipinos might have been spending money on consumption, while the Japanese were spending on constructing battleships. Even if you view the picture from the point of total income per capita, the gap was not very large. From the 1900s to the 1940s, the Philippine income per capita remained steady at about 70% of the Japanese level. The Philippines has had a higher income per capita compared to most East and Southeast Asian countries, just behind Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Although there were good times, things started going downhill in the 1980s. The ex-president Carlos Garcia has promoted industrial growth through his Filipino First policy. The policy spurred growth in the local industry by promoting Philippine-made electronics and equipment. It was a strategic move on his part to compensate for the expiration of the Laurel-Langley Agreement. The agreement allowed the countries to make their countries competitive and ready for world trade within 17 years. It would allow the country to export its stuff to other countries without U.S. approval. Japan used the same strategy to establish its commerce giants such as Honda, Sony, and Panasonic. But through years and years of persistence and hard work, South Korea produced Samsung and LG. Likewise, Taiwan had TMC and Acer. China also started its industrial growth with a similar strategy, and it took 30 years for it to become an industrial country. However, once the industries became stable, they became money trees for these countries, and these countries cashed on them. Now you see, the problem with this policy was that it took too long to generate wealth. Besides, it requires political stability and consistent policies. But unfortunately, the Philippine elite were impatient and could not wait that long to become wealthy. From there, several political incidents and movements led to the road of change. The focus was shifted to improving the economy and the country's global reputation, which had been subject to strain due to allegations of corruption, human rights abuses, and the manipulation of democratic processes. The Filipino government started spending more on improving the infrastructure. Its primary beneficiaries were the tourism industry. The international image was improved by hosting several international events.
Hi and love the Philippines. First of all, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our fellow Filipinos, especially those that are members of the NHS. Thank you for your service that make us all very proud back in our home country.
The genuine warmth of the Filipino people is indeed our greatest asset. The hospitality that we extend to visitors, both local and foreign, is a unique characteristic that is innately embedded in the social fabric of being a Filipino.
The policy was strictly adhered to during the time when the whole world was experiencing the international debt crisis. The early effects of the increase in the government spending were generally positive. The investors invested aggressively. As a result, the GDP began to see an improvement. The government also focused on an expert-led industrialization that attracted foreign investments. But later, the country's economy stagnated. In those times, the people had no choice but to move to other countries for their bread and butter. The dollars earned by them also helped the country's economy significantly. Since then, the country has made considerable policy changes and has continued to multiply militarily and economically. Not to forget that the Philippines experiences multiple earthquakes and typhoons, yet the country has continued to grow. According to experts, the country can quickly restore its position as one of the wealthiest countries in Asia if it continues to grow at this pace. The economy of this country is a newly industrialized emerging market in the Indo-Pacific region. In 2023, it stood at $436 billion, and by 2035, it is even expected to be a $1 trillion economy. From relying solely on agriculture to investing in manufacturing, the country has come a long way. With an average growth rate of 6% since 2010, the Philippines is one of the fastest growing countries in the world. Being a key player in the global export game, it exports a variety of products. First up, we've got electronics and semiconductors. The Philippines is a powerhouse when it comes to producing integrated circuits, semiconductors, and electronic components that you probably use every day. Next on the list is machinery and transport equipment. Think cars, aircraft, and ships. Yep, the Philippines is in on that action too. Now let's talk coconuts. The Philippines is famous for its coconut products like coconut oil, copra, and desiccated coconut.
We are an agricultural nation. The Philippines now is a major exporter of coconut oil and other products such as copra meal and desiccated coconut. We are thus in prime position to harness this advantage to develop this crucial sector for the benefit of our economy and our people.
Who doesn't love a bit of tropical goodness? And speaking of tropical, we can't forget about fruits and veggies. From bananas and pineapples to mangoes and papayas, the Philippines is shipping out all the tasty tropical treats. But wait, there's more! The Philippines also exports apparel and garments, wood products, minerals and metals like nickel and copper, and a whole array of delicious food and beverages. First up, we've got the United States. Yep, the Philippines and the US are like two peas in a pod when it comes to trade. They've got a strong partnership, exchanging goods like electronics, machinery, and agricultural products.
I firmly believe in the transformative power of collaboration, which can yield mutually beneficial outcomes in the long run. Today marks a significant milestone in our country's economic partnership, and I am sincerely grateful to the US-based companies for their keen interest in investing and in doing business in the Philippines.
And everything from clean and renewable energy, which the President and I just spoke about, to digital transformation, information communications technology, infrastructure, to logistics. And they're all here to pursue deals that will strengthen two-way trade and investment between the United States and the Philippines.
Next on the list is Japan. This Asian powerhouse is a significant trading partner for the Philippines, particularly in the electronics and automotive industries. Talk about a match made in trade heaven. Now let's talk about China. With its booming economy, China is a significant importer of Philippine goods like fruits, minerals, and seafood. It's a win-win situation for both countries. But wait, there's more. The Philippines also has robust trade relationships with countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, Germany, and South Korea. These partnerships bring in a variety of products, from textiles to technology. And let's not forget about our neighbors in ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Countries like Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia are key trading partners, fostering economic growth and regional cooperation.
The Philippines will always continue to strive to maintain ASEAN as a competitive and integrated regional economy. Key to our integration efforts is facilitating a rules-based multilateral trading system that is open, free, and fair.
Now you can see why the Philippines has been named one of the Tiger Club economies, including Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. By 2055, it is expected to become one of the largest economies in the world, surpassing most of the Asian countries. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And if you have found the video insightful, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. We'll see you in our next one. Over and out.